call us to order for our agenda meeting. We will be having at 8:30, we're going to reconvene the Board of Equalization and Review. And then we will have the Commissioners meeting called to order, an invocation by Commissioner Antonio Williams, Pledge of Allegiance from Commissioner Freeman Hardison. Then we will need a motion to approve the minutes and any adjustments to the agenda.
No, just with respect to our planning director, Barry Gray, will not be at the meeting today. Barry is with Chip at a meeting in Jacksonville to discuss some Golden Leaf grants for the Prosperity Zone that Wayne County will be receiving. So we're going to get information on the process about that. So that act is at 10 o'clock this morning. So that's where they're at.
All right, and so in lieu of Barry in his absence, I've asked the Vice Chairman to actually make that presentation to planning, to Chris Cox. All right, other special presentations?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First is motion to approve National Volunteer Appreciation Week Proclamation as presented by the United Way Executive Director, Sherry Archibald. Number two is presentation of service plaque to former Wayne County Planning Board Chairman Chris Cox. That will be by Vice Chairman Aycock. Number three, presentation of JCPC funding report by JCPC Chairman Dustin Pittman, and there will be a motion to approve after that's been received. And then motion to approve Community College Month Proclamation, and Dr. Pfeiffer with the Community College will be here to read that. And then we'll have appointment committee.
Right. No appointments, Mr. Chair.
No appointments. Okay.
Then we'll have unfinished business, update on street assessment, preliminary numbers for Langtree Village and Eagle Ridge by Staff Attorney Andrew Neal. Andrew will be doing the presentation. And then another unfinished business, since was not unanimous at the last meeting, motion to approve the proposed ordinance regulating shooting ranges within the planning jurisdiction of Wayne County.
Let me go back to item one there. In that neither Langtree or Eagle Ridge had the required signatures, we would be moving on. Is there another subdivision that has
we have
presented
not.
any petitions?
No, sir.
So at this point, we're through all of those that have presented a petition. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then at 9:15, we'll have a public hearing to receive public comments on the consideration of the sale of 210 Dixie Trail in Goldsboro to Project Berry and to determine the conditions of the sale.
Who's going to make a opening comments on that public hearing?
I'll be glad to.
Okay.
Can I ask, we've got the public hearing at 9:15, and that's way down in the order. Do we need to adjust where we put the public hearings in our agenda, or just drop down to it when it gets 9:15?
My understanding with the rules and procedures of the board, this is kind of how it's listed out. We'd have to change the rules and procedures of the board, but we'll just drop down to it at
Okay.
as close to 9:15 as we can.
Okay.
Well, and my understanding is that if we listed it at 9:30 or 9:45, we'd have to wait until 9:45 to actually have it.
Okay.
So it's okay if we're a little late from the
You just
posted
can't be
time,
early.
but you can't be early. Okay.
Just because it was a personal issue.
But yes, if these go long, then I'll interrupt and basically go ahead and call for the public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then under consent agenda, number one is budget amendments, and just a couple, and I'll turn that to Allison.
Your first budget amendment is for the sheriff's office in the amount of $18,664.68. This is to anticipate funds received for insurance proceeds due to vehicle accidents. Your next budget amendment is for services on aging in the amount of $4,490. They have received donations in this amount and will be using it for various supplies and programs within the Services on Aging Fund. Okay, you have a budget amendment for, the department is called the NC Court Pilot Program Grant. This is a new fund that I am required to create. It is state funds that came in as part of the state budget directed grants. It is $230,000. That's installment one of two. We will receive another $230,000 in the next fiscal year. This was part of a state pilot program for the drug courts. And so Judge Beth Heath presented some information to you on that, I believe, at the last meeting. And so she is has some staff that is helping to manage that program. However, the funds do run through the county.
We got to keep a close eye on this because the state is notorious for giving us money and mandating something and then quit the funding. So, I mean, there's really nothing we can do about it, but in 2 years, we need to make sure our officials in Raleigh that we let them know that we're not going to be happy if they mandate this and quit funding.
That's a good point, because as we've heard, they give a grant, they hire someone, and then 2 years later or a year later, whatever, the grant ends, and they expect us just to pick up that person. They don't fall away.
It's not going to be a hire, it's going to be a contract.
Person. Right. So they're not going to be your employee.
So when the grant's gone, then their contract ceases to.
Right. And the contract will not be with Wayne County for employment. It will be with the court system.
Okay.
Okay. Your last budget amendment is for the Register of Deeds Department. The total is $203,200. There are additional funds needed in various line items. Two of the largest ones are for the fees that are required to be paid to the state. Those are mandated fees that are due each month, and they are based on the amount of collections each year. So the revenues at the bottom are being anticipated to offset these expenditures. So there's no additional fund balance being appropriated for this. It's being balanced by additional revenues. And that's all I have for you.
Okay.
Number two is motion to approve Spring Forest subdivision Phase 4 final plat as recommended by the Wayne County Planning Board. Again, the information from Barry is on page 49 through 51. Pretty straightforward final plat. Questions? Then number three, motion to approve the Community Child Fatality Prevention Team's annual report. Number four, motion to approve Civic Clerk as the agenda software program, including boards and commissions module and moving Municode to an annual service fee. And this is one of the board's objectives of trying to go paperless, and this will also not only be for the Board of County Commissioners, but also can be used by other boards that we have as well.
What is the annual fee?
What is that annual fee, Madam Clerk?
I can get it later.
Okay. I think it was around $1,000 a month, wasn't
Basically, yes.
it? Yeah.
That's not a bad price for that software, do you?
Then number 5, motion to establish a public hearing on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 at 9:15 in the Commissioners' Meeting Room of the Wayne County Courthouse to receive public comments, hear public comments on a proposal to ratify 2 agreements with the Wayne County Development Alliance and the City of Goldsboro. And again, these are agreements we have in place. We just going through the public hearing process.
So we're going to have 2 public hearings or just 1 public hearing? Oh, I'm sorry, the other one
1 public hearing on 2 agreements.
on 2 agreements.
Yes, sir.
Public hearing on 2 agreements.
Yeah.
I think the city had the same thing last.
Actually, they only agreed, they had a public hearing and had a vote on the Shell building, but they did not bring up the Goldsboro Industrial Campus.
Advertised them at the same time.
Did they advertise them at the same time? Well, they didn't have the one on the Goldsboro Industrial Campus. Might want to follow up on that.
And then under new business, motion to approve the following policies regarding the use of the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds for County of Wayne, the subaward policy, and conflict of interest policy. And again, if you remember, we approved 3 ARPA policies at our last meeting, and I think these are the last 2 that we needed to approve so we can begin using some ARPA funds and setting out the policies and procedures.
And they're pretty standard based upon what the requirements are of the federal government, correct? Yeah, good.
But still waiting to follow the final regulations from Treasury.
Still waiting on it. The final rule, the final rule.
And then number 2, motion to approve ARPA funds request for option 1 as shown in the Wayne Executive Port or Jetport's improvement request. This is to clear out some ditching. We're looking at some stream restoration at the Jetport, but we will be using ARPA funds. Again, there was 2 options. 1 was just basically ditching. 2 was piping. The recommendation is to look at the ditching.
Scan right on down a
Correct.
little bit and we'll see the map. It should show where this is. There you go.
And then motion to approve work authorization number 2, funding application needed for state ARPA funds for the Wayne Executive Jetport.
I do believe it needs to say and appropriate budget amendment.
And appropriate, but yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Daugherty.
And this is for professional services to look at pump rehab and replacement at the Jetport. One of the things that we did discuss, just a FYI for the board, we do a lot of projects, and we've had a lot of projects come up recently for the Jetport. During the agenda meeting, we were asked to have somebody from the Jetport here at our next meeting, not this meeting, but the next meeting, to kind of give a presentation of projects and activities that are going on at the Jetport. So I did ask Brandon Gray and also our engineer, Jason Elliott, to do that.
So they're prepared for our next meeting to make that presentation.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Number 4, motion to adopt resolution for state funding application for the Wayne Executive Jetport.
Basically, those 2 are really the
Right.
same because, first of all, we have got to approve a work authorization for them to develop the application. And then the next one is the actual resolution
To
for
apply.
the application.
For the board to approve for us to apply. Yes, sir.
We're just trying to use state funds for the upfit on the pump station.
And then number 5, motion to approve Wayne County 911 Department recommended salary adjustments. This is one of the things that we have been looking at, and as the board is aware, we've been trying to look at different departments, especially where we have been losing people and have had issues of staffing due to our not being at grade or at median with surrounding counties. The way we're planning to do this is to use lap salary, but go ahead and make this implementation as of May 1.
And I believe Commissioner Gurley is going to be making that motion. Okay.
And then number 6, motion to approve Wayne County Animal Services Department recommended salary adjustments. Same issues that we've had at 911 are the same issues we're having in animal control, and we will be using lap salaries. But we are down some positions in animal control, and again, a lot of it is due to salaries.
And who would be making that motion? Who's on the animal control?
I'm not, but I don't mind making.
I'm on animal control.
Oh, yeah. Why don't-
Yeah, I can handle
Got you.
it. Yes.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
And then we have county manager's report, board of commissioners committee reports. We do have a closed session scheduled, but in talking with our attorney, we're not aware of anything that we have that needs to go to closed session. So unless something comes up.
So we're not going to have a closed session.
Right, not that we're aware of.
Mr. Honeycutt,
Yes, sir.
I know initially, when we were talking about the salaries, I think we were supposed to adjust some of the salaries when it came to the register of deeds too. Is that going to be something later down the line?
We're looking at that as far as budget, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, these we wanted to do immediate because we had some money left over in lap salaries.
Okay.
So, but we are looking at other departments as well as part of the budget that we're working on now. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And then we will, do we want to recess and get to the, yeah, we will recess, Mr. Chair. And then we do have lunch scheduled with the Farm Bureau at the Maxwell Center in the Farm Bureau room at noon. So we will go and have a meeting with them and lunch. And then we will adjourn the meeting from there.
Okay. And we do have a facilities meeting this afternoon at 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so at this point, we are going to wait until 8:30 to reconvene the Board of Equalization and Review. So we'll have a little break, a little recess.
Nothing good to do.
Okay, I want to reconvene the Board of Equalization and Review. We were sworn in at our last meeting. We're going to ask Alan Lupkin to give us a report.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Since we last met, 2 weeks ago, at that time, we did have 4 parcels, 2 owners appealing property this year. We've had 1 more that came in last Thursday. It was a residential. The other 4 were commercial. We'll be working these, and we don't have anything prepared today to be heard. We'll be working these. If they do wish to come before the board, you can hear them in the future as the Board of Commissioners. We're going to adjourn the Board of Equalization today, and that basically stops the appeal process for this year. But the ones that have filed timely, they could be heard by you as Board of Commissioners at a later date once we get these worked, if they choose to.
All right, so you're still working with them, and
Yes,
you
sir.
may resolve those
Correct.
issues, but
Yes,
if
sir.
not, then they could appeal to us.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
As commissioners.
As Commissioners, yes, sir.
All right, is anyone got any questions of Mr. Lupkin?
Mr. Love, what kind of appeals do they make? Is it because they consider their property too high? or is tax-wise, or?
Yes, ma'am, usually that's what it is, and it's this time, with the market like it is, it's very rare we have these, but these two ones we have, the two we have, especially the commercial ones, there's two vacant parcels in an area that, due to circumstances, they can't be used for what their highest and best use are, and so that's has come to light since our last reappraisal. So, yeah, in that case, it is because the use cannot be, it's not highest and best use, so they've appealed the value because they can't use it for what it should be used for right now due to other circumstances. The other property is an old manufacturing facility that is in pretty bad shape, and it's been abandoned at this point now, so it's just sitting there vacant. They haven't had any opportunity to get anybody else in there at this time, and they actually bought it at a lower price, so they're appealing that value for that. So we're working with them to try to see if we can determine what is the best use for this property at this time and what would be a fair value for that. But for the most part, the market, the way it is right now, there's not a whole lot of appeals to be done because market's so high right now compared to tax value since 2019.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions? All right, is there anyone here that would like to appeal their value? And I heard a yes somewhere in the background. But at any rate, if there's no one here to appeal, at that point, we're going to adjourn. And I hereby adjourn the Board of Equalization and Review.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
And we will go back into recess until 9 o'clock. Thank you.